Howdy ho, folks. It's your multiversal medium here for another episode of nonsense that doesn't make any logical sense in any way, shape, or form. Harvestella. Last episode, we tried to take a space elevator, but robots teleported in because apparently they have the ability to teleport now. And they teleported on the space elevator, which apparently was moving the entire time, which should be very difficult to teleport on, but we're not going to talk about that. Anyways, we fought them. It was a boss fight. I don't effing know why. This is stupid. And then after we did the boss fight, the elevator stopped. So we need to get off the elevator and go to a maintenance relay to make it go back up. But the thing is this elevator is in like a cable down to the planet. By the way, the planet isn't directly below us. It's to the left of us. We aren't connected to the planet with this tether. It's really stupid. So basically, we're on this giant planet to space station elevator. And apparently there's just an entire dungeon right where we stopped in order to do a maintenance thing to get it to go back up higher because the boss said we couldn't go higher. I crap you not, we have basically the equivalent of just a tethered down elevator. It is literally something they just shot down from the orbital space station. And oh, hey, right here, directly right here, is just a dome that is now a dungeon. This is so effing stupid. So effing bad. I cannot comprehend how people accepted this. There is no way to accept this as a possibility. I want you to realize the elevator we were on was shot down as a tether onto the planet and then locked into place. There is no way this entire maintenance thing was shot down to this point as well. It would have shattered. All of this is effing stupid. And you can't say, well, that's real physics and we got kind of like a sci-fi fantasy thing going on. It's like, no, they constantly reference realism here and there. They reference Earth. They reference stupid theories. They reference so many odds and ends that it's like, this is supposed to be rooted kind of in reality, you know? No, you can't effing have this kind of stupid leap in this idiotic, this is a dungeon now, BS. This is horrible writing. Like legit, if I was reading all the plot points up to this point as a script of what someone was trying to freaking make, I would be berating them. I would have rolled it up at this point and smacked them with it. If they kept coming up with more and more that was still along the same lines, like this effing dungeon, I would have slapped them in front of me. This is so stupid. This is not okay. Anyways, what is a cloud, by the way? I heard you say it earlier as well. Sure, why not? In human terms, oh my effing gosh. Aria, I'm going to tell you right now, do not lead an introduction about AI and tech to the village peasants with in human terms. It showcases she's still racist and xenophobic to all of us because she considers us lesser. That one introduction is her considering all of us lesser. In human terms, you know, because you're not human, it's what we would call a faction. AI with similar logical inclinations, loosely grouped together. What? No, that's not based on anything, and that's just them coming up with their own terminology. I like how I thought it was last episode towards the end. I preferred my idea of, so are the AI based on different cloud info? Like they're all hooked up to this cloud and that cloud has all this info and that's affecting their AI personality. Because they're all getting their information from that cloud. And by cloud, I mean like how we consider storing information on the cloud nowadays with technology. Things saved to like your Google Drive is saved to the cloud, so on and so forth. That's how I'd prefer it. And that's how I would have written it. But let's be honest, I'm, compared to these individuals, a competent writer. So obviously they had to come up with a completely new term because they don't know how to write. That's right. We are not a monolith. You are well informed. I am a scientist after all, but you really are AI. Aria, you're not a scientist, don't lie. You have not done one scientific thing ever. Everything you saw in Lost Gaia was real. Why just randomly say that? What? Where did that come from? You really are AI. Yeah, is it starting to hit home? No. Dianthus's reply was, yeah, everything you just saw a minute ago in the last dungeon was true. Yeah, I hate everyone. I like how Shrika just walked off at the start of that cutscene and we don't know where she went. Lost Gaia. Why do we need the elevator? There's a monolith right there. Wait, hold up. I've never even talked about this, but we were introduced to the monolith transport system by Dianthus, actually letting us do it. But that is an extrapolation of the fact that Dianthus is already hooked up to it and can use it to any place whatsoever. So why don't we just join Dianthus's party and have them teleport us to the orbital cradle via this thing they set up world building wise? Why wouldn't we be able to do that? Humans can move through the monolith network. Dianthus should be able to move through the monolith network. And you can't say Dianthus can't, because Dianthus was using the monolith network and is the one that introduced me, the protag, to it, and I'm the only individual / human who has access to it because of Dianthus, which means it was designed for frickin' set omens. Why can't Dianthus just move us through the monolith network to get us up to the orbital cradle? You can't say, well, it can only teleport themselves, because I teleport my party members everywhere I go. We have the answer to get where we want to go. Dianthus has obviously been there. We have an in-universe has already been described way of teleportation that would get us there, and we're not doing it. Stupid. Lost Gaia. Why is she calling it Lost Gaia? If she grew up there, she would have called it Earth. And Geist even went to say Lost Gaia is Earth. And had a horrible introduction as to, like, Lost Gaia. So and so and so and so. Earth. Aria should just be calling it Earth. Why is she calling it Lost Gaia? Why is she using that term? That makes zero sense. What the absolute F? I hate both these options. I'm typecast to try and like Aria, and I feel like I'm back in a Sword Art Online game. Actually, I feel like I'm back in Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet. Because in that game, you're not a part of the Sword Art Online cast. You do make your own character, but you are typecast and forced to be a fanboy / fangirl of the cast, and you're not allowed to dislike them. Because as we know, Sword Art Online is a Mary Sue story, and anyone who dislikes the protag is either A, a rival character who will later like the protag, or B, a villain. There is no in between. Anyways, I don't want to touch her, so I guess, are you okay? Don't make me touch her. Yeah. I can't stop now. Yeah, you can. Where are you going? That's the ledge. That is... Okay, there is another bridge right there. Why didn't you go... Whatever. Who cares? Who cares? Everything's stupid. Everything's bad. This game is horrible. We already know this. How am I still finding issues every single cutscene? How is that possible? How did they write it so poorly that I have an issue every single cutscene? How is that possible? How have they not written a single good cutscene? I am genuinely impressed that they have not written a single good cutscene. There's nothing. There's legitimately nothing in this game that's redeemable writing-wise. How did they do that? Even monkeys, when given a bunch of typewriters, will occasionally make a word. How did they fail to such a degree? Like, that doesn't make sense. How are they just this bad? How is every cutscene just bad? It shouldn't be possible. Also, what the absolute... Okay, so... Fine, I already went on a tangent about how this dungeon doesn't make sense. Do you guys think I should be taking parts from this dungeon and just ripping it off what it's connected to because I think it's shiny? You guys think that's a smart idea for how I handle this dungeon? Tearing apart the maintenance shaft of a space elevator? That's what I should be doing? Because, no. No, it isn't. Oh my effing god. I hate this. I hate this so effing much. Oh, I'm out of stamina. Okay. Gotta eat some soup. Get some soup, be able to attack suddenly. Now that I can attack, the other people can attack, because they know since I had soup is fighting time. Because that's just how this game goes. They don't attack unless I attack. Anyways, as a random side tangent, I don't even know what level I am, but I looked into how deep the quietest dungeon is. And like, I can't remember how many floors it said, but I think the enemies get stronger every like 5 floors. And the highest level enemies you're going to be facing in that dungeon are like level 80. Which we can easily extrapolate, meaning I can't beat that dungeon until I reach level 80. Maybe 80 plus, because it's probably going to be a bit difficult because this game sucks. Oh, sucks for Thick Thighs Crushes Lives. Guess she's just not here, and sucks for the, she should have been crushed in that. Anyways. Okay, we got that, I guess. This is stupid. I can't believe this is an entire dungeon. Why is this an entire dungeon? Why did this have to be anything? Is this just... You know, why am I even asking? Of course, this is just padding. This does nothing for the plot. This is just padding. There is no reason for any of our characters to be here besides they, like, Deus Ex Machina'd us into having to be here. This doesn't need to be a thing. This is padding. This is a dungeon here, possibly just so we get EXP, so that we don't instantly die later, because they want us at a certain level by a certain point, and it's just a Cornello doll. Why is there a Cornello doll here? That doesn't make sense. Why were there Cornello dolls on Earth? It doesn't make sense. What the absolute F is wrong with the designers? Oh my effing gosh. Like, how can you be this incompetent? How can you be this bad? Genuinely, how can you be this bad at your job? And how can an entire team be this bad at their jobs and not lose their jobs? How can this still be greenlit? How can this still be acceptable work? Something this effing bad. Like, I can't comprehend it. Nothing about this should have gotten to this point. I guess I'm out of freaking healing items. Cool. Oh, these things hit hard. Lovely. And of course, they mainly probably just go for me, because why wouldn't they? Are these things resetting? Yeah, they're just resetting. They're healing. We've never had a single enemy ever do that. We've never had a single enemy just phase out, heal, and phase back in. No. That has never happened. You cannot tell me that is game design and what they were intending with those enemies. Earlier versions of those enemies didn't do that. That's a bug. That is them messing up. They effed up with that enemy design right there, and something's wrong. Used in crafting. I don't care about that. Used in crafting. Fortify weapons. Used in crafting. Fortify weapons. Okay. But yeah, that is 100%. That cannot be construed as anything other than a bug. Because that's all it was. Used in crafting. Used in crafting. Construction. Crafting. Yeah. Construction. I cannot effing believe. Not a single episode. Not a single effing episode without an issue. Not one. Not a single effing one. No way to do anything in this game without finding faults somewhere. I am so genuinely tired of the incompetence of this team that it is appalling. I'm beyond angry. I'm beyond pissed. I'm beyond everything. I am tired of this genuine incompetence that they refuse to stop being. Oh, let's see here. Chaos Cleaner takes more freaking rusty. Whatever he was about to. Okay. But yeah, I can't believe this. It's pathetic. It's effing pathetic. Not a single episode I can be just like, yeah, and that was an enjoyable experience, or yeah, that experience didn't make me want to pull out my hair. Yeah, that experience didn't make me genuinely pissed. Not a single episode. Not a single episode is able to do that. It's horrifying. It's like they went out of their way to do everything wrong. Like, there's no other proper explanation of it, right? Like, they went out of their way to do things like this.
The veggies are simply bursting to be harvested.
What veggies, you crazy dip? Actually, you know what? Like, that stuff usually doesn't even get picked up properly. Because the in-game audio compared to what I'm hearing in my headphones, which is just so much louder, is completely different compared to what you guys usually hear. It's used for crafting. Actually, no, grab 3 of these. Pop those back. But yeah, it's... They had to be following a rule book at this point. There's no other way to get it to how it is without them following a rule book on how they think it should be. You don't do what they're doing repeatedly in every possible scenario without it being intentional. And usually this kind of intentional horribleness is intended to elicit a reaction from the reader or the person partaking the media, and then maybe flip it on its head or go deeper into it. Something that, like, is a story filled with cliches in order to showcase and talk about the cliches and maybe go into them in more detail or flip them on their head would be a showcase of such. Pretty certain I said showcase like 3 times. Whatever. This game's frying my brain and I can't be blamed for it. Now then, this game though is probably just a culmination of horrible writing that Square Enix has been getting away with for well over a decade. I mentioned in the earlier episodes that Square Enix, when it comes to their Final Fantasy style writing, has not been good at writing from the get-go. They have sucked at writing for a long time. They just have never been good at it. Like, Final Fantasy has just been bad when it's come to writing. It always has been. It always has been bad writing from the first Final Fantasy game.
Bring back souvenirs.
So, with that in mind, we realize they've been kind of just getting positive reinforcement towards this horrible writing, and it's just evolved into worse writing. This isn't them thinking they're doing bad writing. They think everyone likes this writing. And considering this game didn't get review bond for how horrible the story was, I hate to say it, they're right. People don't find fault with this writing. And if you've gotten this far into the series, that should effing horrify you. There is no reason this writing should be considered acceptable. There is zero reason to ever consider this level of bad writing acceptable. This is something teachers would grade you with an F. This is not okay. This is not worth something being sold at $60. This is not a trash novel you're reading online because it's the author's first time writing a novel. This is garbage from people who should know better and were constantly told, no, This is what we know to be good, when this is filled with plot holes. This is them following a rule book, a series of rules they set in stone countless games ago, and they think it's perfected by now. This is refined garbage. And it's Square Enix's, especially when it comes to Final Fantasies, piece de la resistance. Refined garbage. It's what is their bread and butter when it comes to writing. A literal slime ball that holds nothing. No form, no point. It sticks to you grossly like glue. And it just eats away at what you know to be good. And if you keep partaking it, it keeps eating away more and more until you can't tell what good writing is anymore. It's disgusting. You like how I just randomly had it? Nope, we ain't doing that. A random fire spell go off. Like, seriously, I'm so far away from any enemy that should be able to do that, but nope. We can have fire attacks hit us, I guess. Lovely. Like, legit, there's no possible way they got as far in the entirety of this writing and review process without them thinking they're correct in it. There's no possible way. They think they are so right with every plot hole they make, with every contradiction they make. They don't see a single effing issue. It's so effing horrifying. It is so effing disgusting. This is the slop we're supposed to be eating. This is the garbage that we're supposed to smile and give a thumbs up and be like, yep, this is good. This is just what the doctor ordered. This freaking slime ball of an effing game. So disgusting. I haven't played a lot of non-Dragon Quest Square Enix games in a minute from Square Enix. I really haven't. Because I got so used to the quality constantly dipping down, and I felt like I couldn't trust them when it came to quality control at any point. And this game is just a showcase of that they aren't trustworthy when it comes to quality control, because they don't have quality control when it comes to their games or writing, their gameplay loops, their gameplay mechanics, anything. You can't trust a company like Square Enix to make a good game anymore because they haven't made a good game in decades, besides certain IPs that are demanded to be held to a higher standard. Or anything else I can do this day? Actually, maybe I'll just fish a bit. Yeah. Let's just fish a bit to, I don't know, waste time. It's almost been an episode. We're not going back in the dungeon. It'll give me something to maybe make a little bit of money. Make a little bit of the money I kinda sorta need here and there. But yeah, this is nauseating. I don't know if the other games that have been coming out from Square Enix are this same horrible quality. I was expecting to play, what is it? Stranger of Paradise. The Final Fantasy 1 remake, maybe at some point in the Let's Critique slot. So sometime after this game finished. And I don't know if I have the heart for it anymore. Like, yeah, Stranger of Paradise is so over the effing top when it comes to its writing that it's cringy and like make fun of. Hilarious kind of thing. But I honestly don't know if I have it in me. Like, let's be effing honest. If you've watched any clip from Stranger of Paradise, you know it's stupidly over the top. But you guys also need to know the writers and the directors were taking it perfectly seriously when they were writing it that way. They thought it was a super serious game because they don't know how to write or make a game anymore. They've been told their crayon drawings are like masterworks for so long that they wouldn't know how a proper sketch would actually look anymore. It's like all of the gaming community gave Square Enix Dunning-Kruger syndrome at this point, and they just don't know it. That's so effing horrifying. There's a lot of Square Enix smaller titles that came out around the same time that I was kind of debating on grabbing. I think there was one that was like an action RPG based around like Ghosts of the Dead and maybe even powering up your sword or something. I can't remember exactly what it was or what it was called. Can I cook any of these fish? No. Doesn't look it. Whatever. But like, let me put it this way. This one game has turned me off from the entire catalog of Square Enix stuff. Besides Dragon Quest, and I've gone on record that even when I'm not getting exactly what I want out of a Dragon Quest game, I'm still getting a slightly above average game every single time I pick it up, and that's why I feel safe grabbing any Dragon Quest game. I have been rewarded with slightly above average everything in a Dragon Quest game since I got into the IP. I have never been like just upset with the Dragon Quest game to the point of like, I can't believe they effing wrote this or they did this. They've always put effort into a Dragon Quest game. Do I think Dragon Quest Monsters 3, The Dark Prince, kinda effing sucks as a Dragon Quest Monsters game? Yeah. It's still an above average Mon Collector. Do I think it kinda effing sucks when it comes to the writing, considering it's based on Dragon Quest 4 and one of the most iconic characters in Dragon Quest in general? Yeah. It's still better writing than a lot of JRPGs or Mon Collectors. And if you look at it in a vacuum, it's perfectly fine. It's annoying to classic fans like me, but a lot of things are. Like, the worst case I'm getting out of Dragon Quest is still better than a majority of things in the genre that Dragon Quest game is in. And I don't comprehend how there is such a massive difference between Dragon Quest and everything else Square Enix seems to be pushing out. Like, how does this keep happening? Why is this a constant from Square Enix of poor writing and crappy gameplay design elements and the inability to crack down on a gameplay system for an IP? Like, why is this constantly happening from Square Enix? What is wrong with their development and their whole system of making video games where they just can't do things competently besides Dragon Quest. I am genuinely concerned. What is wrong? What is burning in their freaking development offices? Why is it constantly on fire so that we keep getting this level of slop? Why does this keep happening? And why is Dragon Quest just never actually a part of it? What is happening? I've mentioned multiple times during this entire playthrough that I don't trust the Final Fantasy side of Square Enix after the merger. And that's exactly what the heck I mean. Something like their teams have to be divided. They really do. There's no way the people who work on Harvestella and the writing team for Harvestella have ever interacted with the writing team of any Dragon Quest game. There's no way either of those freaking teams have even sat down at the same table or in the same building. There's no effing way. Everything about what they do is so effing different. There's just not the smallest of possibilities. And I can't comprehend that because it's the same effing company. How is this not somehow interacting with one another? How are they not like somehow leaking into the other space? How is freaking Dragon Quest weirdly okay when Square Enix is just pushing out garbage and slop and slime ball after slime ball? How is that happening? I don't comprehend. Anyways, guys, it's been an episode. Actually, let's teleport there and then pop a save so we know exactly where we need to go. I hate this game. I don't think there's any way to redeem this game. The hatred I have for this game isn't just the writing, it's the intentionally bad writing because they think it's good writing. The hatred I feel for this game isn't the bad gameplay, it's the intentional bad gameplay loops that they thought was good gameplay loops when it shouldn't be. The hatred I feel for this game isn't the fact that there's UI issues, it's that there's a lot of UI issues that are leaking out everywhere, and honestly there's no reason for those UI issues. They should have checked it. There's no reason there's Japanese text. There's no reason to have like differences in descriptions. There's no reason for any UI issue I've come across, honestly. The reason I hate this game isn't that it's a bad game. It's that it's an intentionally bad game by people who think they can't make a bad game. And they need to effing admit they made garbage. That's the reason I hate this game. We still have Chapter 7, Chapter 8, Chapter 9, and an epilogue. So 4 more chapters. We're going to keep at it. I'm going to beat this game. I'm going to hate every second of it. I'm going to find something horribly wrong with every single episode, like I've always done. Every single cutscene, like I've always done. And we'll get to the end. The end's going to be completely and utterly not worth everything we put towards this. But finally, it will be over. I'll talk to you guys later. Just give me some good vibes or something. You don't have to pray, it's too late now. Just send some good vibes my way. Maybe like, comment, and sub. It doesn't matter, honestly. It's... I am so deep in a pit that this game will leave a weird emotional scar on me because of how horrible it is. But good vibes and all that. I'll talk to you guys later. Ciao.